23 drones.
Yeah.
The vast majority have been Mavics.
Right.
Being they can be coming in, and if we all speak that common
That's
common
right.
platform, you could have 23 of these things flying out there and feeding back the information and rotating, and that's I think that's a higher level goal of what they're trying to achieve.
Well, it would make sense that if we get 1 or 2 and you have 3, we can combine and then
totally.
that would work for both of us, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we've got no secrets. The defence might have some secrets, but we've got no secrets. It's all like. And other things that we've done is we've got the goggles here. Now we've used them a couple of times. One of note was a bulldozer rollover at the back of on the road out to Macra. Slid down the hill, rolled. The guy died, and so we went there and went to fly that. For whatever reason, that was wouldn't. What was the mode it got stuck in?
It wouldn't go below a certain height.
Yeah, but it said it's sort of like a beginner's mode or something. It just wouldn't get out of it, and this is what we're saying. You need to really know your equipment and how to troubleshoot. The guy tried to fix it and it wasn't working. And anyway, we brought in the Mavic later. Anyway, and that flew perfectly. But the WorkSafe had their forestry inspector there, threw the goggles on him, and he was looking through the goggles, doing this, and we can actually set up the goggles so you can go that way, and the drone will go like that.
Yeah.
So it can follow all that. But anyway, he was looking through the goggles, and he was directing the camera. He's looking down. And he'd say to the pilot, "Off, just fly that way a bit or that way," and he's going, "Yep, take a photo, take a photo, take a photo." So these things, although they're very good, especially if you're getting glare and things like that, put these on, and you can actually control them, because there's a touch
So they
pad
work on the
side.
Mavic as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no.
that one at the time did.
Yeah, I'll explain that. So, not everything is as easy and as kind of as we've found out. And because we're doing research, so what we're going to do now is this is the account that I've created for live streaming. Okay,
Should come up in a minute.
Goes my channel.
Just change around, so didn't have the hand in front of it.
So the good thing about the Inspire is we operate with 2 controllers, and this controller flies the drone, and the second one does the camera work. Okay, so basically on here, on the screen here, this is how I move the camera around on this one. Okay, move the camera.
10 seconds.
It was.
Yeah. So that's actually not too bad.
Probably because we're so close. So, so the second controller. Now they don't necessarily when you buy the kit, you then have to pay, I think, for additional features like a second controller. Okay, so when you buy a drone, you get your basic kit. Then, depending on what you're doing, you then have to fork out for another controller.
Yeah.
The DJI does tend to lean itself towards Apple more so than Android. You can use any Android tablet or any Android phone, but they tend to line up a little bit more with Apple products. Okay.
Don't tell the IT guys.
No, and unfortunately, I can use the little toggle switch on the side and do all that, and can spin the camera left and right. This one here does that, so these controls are redundant. They don't do anything. In fact, we'll hook those. Yeah. And so the green indicator lets you know that this is the flight control, and this gives you the flight blue turquoise, and it tells you that it's not the primary controller. Okay. So the good thing is, in fact, I might go and get them, show them the harness. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, especially with the Inspire here, and from what my observations of our pilots are, is that you can't expect to learn how to fly. Oh yeah, know that, and put it away and come back to it in a month. And you've got to be at it, and it does take a bit of time. Reece spends a bit of time because he's I've had to update the software, or I don't understand how to anyway. But he does have to work on. I was just saying, Reece, about the amount of time you do spend on this, try and make sure it's up to date.
Yep.
And,
It's a full-time job.
well,
Sometimes it
yeah, it seems like it, but it's also because we've got a number of pilots, and I have asked Reece to lead it. The Mavic, from my observation, seems to be quite a simple little drone. This one here, because it just seems to be a bit more complicated, and you have to be on top of it a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's
definitely is in terms of its capability. It's way.
yeah,
Well, you shouldn't say way better, but it is better.
it is better. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point for your emergencies. You don't want something that somebody's only done once before, about 6 months ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You almost need people that are doing it as
And that's why I want it as business as usual.
Yeah.
Building inspections, the roading guys, these guys here. Where do we have one or a number around the council? We'll have to work that out.
I think a number is good.
Yeah.
I think, frankly, we should be getting somebody involved as well.
Yeah.
For our part of it, then you've got one more to call on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll use them anyway in your normal
that's right.
GIS stuff.
Yeah.
So
And ours could be quite a regular thing that we would do
absolutely.
at least
Yeah.
every week or something.
There we go. I've got it working. Right. So there's lots of things like on here. So on the on-screen menu here, you've got things like first-person view. The camera will only go up and down, and so you've got to really play with it. You've got to, because we're just learning ourselves. So this is what we call free view. So that allows me to move the camera all the way around.
Yep.
Okay, in free view. If you before it was locked in what they call gimbal yaw reset or first person view when it's locked, but this is the free view, so this is one you want. Okay, so this allows you. So the harness is worn by the operator. And have a feel after a period of time. That's quite heavy.
It's actually quite a pain.
It is, yeah. This is fairly easy to put on, and it clips to there. All right, so it's got a sort of clip there anyway.
Oh,
So there's your clip.
But you can get away with just a lanyard.
Yep.
If that's just round. But the harness is a better option
Yeah, or for me,
for more longer duration.
Yeah.
flying.
For me as the operator, I prefer to have the harness because it protects shoulders and it comes around, and you can have the lanyard for the camera operator. So, but as you can see, so you've got two controllers. So the system is redundant. These are redundant on here. That bit of bleeding is coming through it because we're so close and we're in a concrete. They perform better outside. So don't take too much notice of that. That's just because we're inside a concrete thing.
Earlier you spoke about somebody flying and then the other guy being spotted.
Yeah.
So the one guy
See,
would be using
it's
one
gonna
of the
take off.
control,
Yep.
and next one might next person
Push the
might
button
be
and it
adjusting
says
the
take
camera.
off.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what we do quite often is Macaulay's medals. I went up to it and I was just moving the camera around to where I wanted it, and things like can play with the camera while that's doing, and the pilot he's just observing everything else. Because it also tells you the wind speed up there, doesn't it?
For the Mavic it does,
Yeah.
but not for the Inspire. So
What
with
about
the
the Inspire 2?
I don't know, because we haven't played with that.
No.
So, but I know that the Mavic will give you a warning saying that wind velocity is getting up, and I
Yeah.
had that when I was flying at Cheer Solutions
Oh,
and
yeah.
at CV Marina when I did the oil exercise.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had that. Yep.
Yeah.
So the Inspire 2 has two cameras. One is a forward one, so
Yeah.
the driver can see where they're going, and the other one through the camera.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very, very clever. So you
Yeah.
you can work them totally independently.
Yep, yep. The front camera though doesn't go left and right.
No.
That just has a slight down, and so that's as if you were in the cockpit of an aircraft.
Yeah,
and it'll give you
yeah.
that. However, we as a group, we don't operate. While I'm looking at while I look at the tablet, the only information that I'm really looking at is how much flight time I've got left in the batteries
Yeah.
and critical information. And my job is to visually look at that drone. So I think there's this perception that you could be flying off the tablet and your visual eye, because with the Mavic we had at Cheer Solutions, I was given permission to fly at 700 feet
Oh wow.
for a one-off flight.
Yeah.
And we did that to get an overall view. So I'd got permission from the tower to do that, and
It was a big building, wasn't it?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and we wanted to get an idea of from the top of where the creek was and Park Road is,
Yeah.
and we wanted to get that whole area covered in the photograph, but you can't do it from lower down.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that we noted was seagulls, particularly,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
go ape. And when I was flying that at Cheer Solutions, the old seagulls are having a great old time because it's black and white.
Mm.
So seagulls will actually attack them.
Well,
and they'll
no,
come right up.
They'll come right up.
Yeah.
They haven't
Yeah,
hit
been lucky.
our aircraft
Yeah.
yet, but
yeah, we've been
they
lucky.
do tend to get in the camera view.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So how many sensors has this got on it? Because I mean, the whole idea is forward, back, side, up and down.
Yep.
You need that if you're in a building, but you don't need that if you're out in the open space.
Okay. So for instance, say you're not going to be flying that in a building anyway. So
No.
that is your outside. That there.
That one there.
This one here is going to be your go-to in a building. Okay, the Mavic, which is a bit bigger, you can fly that indoors, but this one here, I would recommend as your go-to indoorsy
Mm.
drone. You can get it through the doors. Now, the sensors on this one and here have, and I'll show you when we go out
Yeah.
there and do a demo actually, but it has, so at about 1.5 metres, it'll stop.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't mean to say that if you've got this pad full flight and in sport mode,
Yeah.
it's not going to suddenly stop. So as the operator, you need to judge yourself the distance
Yeah.
and slowly, and it'll get to a point where it won't go any closer. It's
Yeah.
an invisible brick wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1.5 metres is the minimum distance. Sensors are on the ground as well, so we've got 3 little sensors here. So the Inspire 1, we have ground proximity sensors. The undercarriage on that extends when you lift up at about 1.5 metre or metre off the ground. The undercarriage comes up.
Yeah.
When you land it, some of the guys had issues, and it actually lowers the undercarriage at about 500, half a metre.
Yeah.
So what you do is when you're landing the drone, you don't just suddenly bring it down,
No.
because it's going to take a few seconds for the undercarriage to come down. You hover the drone and then slowly bring it down, and then you'll notice that the undercarriage will get to its height. Then they'll descend into landing mode, and when it's doing that, you keep it at a steady hover, and once they're down, then lower it down. We've had an issue a while ago. One of the guys was flying and it was just a mistake, and they brought it down on top of the camera because the legs had it.
Yeah.
But that's because the takeoff, it raised the undercarriage at a higher altitude, ironically enough, than it does when you land it, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
bizarre. You would think it should be
the other way
reversed.
around.
Yeah.
When you take off, it should do that, and when it
Yeah.
lands, it should be higher.
Yeah.
You can't change that setting. That's a setting that's programmed,
Yeah.
so you don't have the option to change what settings, but you can bring the undercarriage down. And one of the things we found is on carpets, when we're putting this away into travel mode, so travel mode, the legs are pretty much
It's just flat.
flex, so it goes into a case. At the moment,
Yeah.
it's in on carpet. The little sensor picks up concrete and stuff, but you can be landing on grass, and the undercarriage won't come down because the little sensor at the bottom isn't picking up anything to bounce back to it because grass doesn't reflect.
Oh, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but concrete, of course, will give a reflection.
Yeah.
So you then need to move the drone somewhere where, or you can put down a landing pad
Yeah.
or a tarp
That's
that's going to ping it back.
Yeah.
I think other things to realise is to get that one to work, you know, you have to go through that whole calibration, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you do, in fact, you do all the drones
Yeah.
require what they call a compass calibration, and it's a little dance it does, and it basically, wherever you go, whenever you start your new flight, you do a calibration which is all on screen, and what you do is you pick it up, turn it around 360, then it'll get you to point it down, and then you turn it around again.
You're actually turning your whole body around. You
Yeah.
sort of hold it. And,
These smaller ones you can do it by hand, but that one there you do it on your axis, and then what it does is it calibrates the compass.
Yeah.
My phone does that every now and again.
Yeah.
Sends out a calibration.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You meant to do the infinity curve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I suggest every time you are physically moving from a distance that you do that. So if you're
Oh,
at one
yeah.
job,
Yeah.
and if you were driving to another job, I would recommend that you
That will blow up quite a bit of dust.
Yep.
And
Oh,